Hey everyone, how you doing? My name is Stan Zeff, DJ, producer, curator and founder of the Tambor party here in Atlanta, Georgia. Tambor's been going since 2009, so we're in the 14th year now. And I first came to Atlanta in the year 2000 from the UK. I was initially IT consultant, so I was brought over here to work in corporate America. I'd always been in music, always been DJing. I started DJing back in 1985 in the underground house scene in London, and when house music first touched the shores of the UK. So I came to Atlanta already seasoned for house music, and for the first few years I didn't do anything. I didn't do much DJing. I was just checking out all the parties and what was going on. In the early days, the main parties that I saw that was going on was Ron Pullman Soul. He was doing great parties all over the city, in fact. And there was the Gathering Party with Ramon Raw Soul. And I think the biggest party at the time was Deep at MJQ of Ponce de Leon, and that was with Kai, Alcé, DJ Kemet and Cullen. So that I think Deep was the biggest party that was going on at that time when I first touched down in Atlanta. Atlanta in the early days was a great city for music because there was so much different genres in the city, and the reason for that I could see was because Atlanta is a transplant city. So a lot of people come from Chicago, Philly, New York, LA, Boston. There's a lot of people come from all of the other major cities in this country, and as well as the other southern states like Alabama, Louisiana, Texas. So Atlanta is a transplant city, so people come from all over into the city with all their musical influences. So when it came to house music, you could take your pick of where you wanted, what type of music you wanted to hear. You could hear Chicago jacking house, or you can hear more of a soulful New York or New Jersey house music. So, and then you had the Detroit techno influence. All of that was in Atlanta. And you had people running their own parties and doing these, and a lot of late night, after dark parties starting at 3 a.m., going on to early hours of the morning and sometimes the afternoon. Up on Howell Mill Road, there was these guys that were always doing parties Saturday night into Sunday. They were doing these parties, and the house music could be anything from deep tech to soulful, and they would get a whole range of different DJs coming in. The other thing about Atlanta was that Atlanta was still kind of segregated at the time. It was you had the white house parties and the black house parties. So there were two different cultures, and there wasn't really a mixture between the two. I would say, if anything, MJQ was the only place where I saw that there was a mixture of different cultures coming in. But Atlanta was very much a black and a white house scene, which was very, very prevalent. And it was like the unspoken rule at the time. So coming from the UK and doing my parties, I was used to an integrated club scene, which I didn't see at all in Atlanta. So when I decided to do parties again, I wanted something to include all races and just open the doors to everyone and make sure everyone was included. Not that they weren't included, but there was just like, okay, if it was a white party, you went here, and a black party, you went there. So I wanted to make that difference. So when I started Tambor in 2009, I was already into the new house sound that came from South Africa, which today is known as Afro House. So you had people like Kulo de Song, the Capo, Black Coffee, of course. These were the big names from back then in 2007, 2008 that were playing this new sound and producing this new sound. So I was all about the new Afro sound. And the majority of house followers at the time weren't into it. They were into more of the older vocal, soulful sound. So when I started Tambor, I was playing the Afro house, and it took a while for people to get onto it because it was different. For example, a lot of it was instrumentals, and the music that was vocal, it was Swahili or some other African language that the people didn't understand. So quite often people used to come to me and say, you know, what's this you're playing? This isn't house music. This isn't house music. And I was like, yes, it is house music. You can dance to it. You know, it's just a different vibe. So I continued with that. You know, I continued playing that sound, and until people started coming around to it and they really started enjoying it, and I was starting to bring in artists that played that music as well from South Africa, like Kulo de Song, like the Capo, and Black Coffee. Tambor was actually the first brand to put Black Coffee on in the States. Okay, when he first came to the States to DJ, he played at Tambor first. So that kind of gave us credibility over the years of sticking to our guns and playing that sound, winning over people who followed Tambor, not just in Atlanta, but across the country as well. So, you know, just sticking to it and being consistent with it, it worked out. As I said, Tambor's been going since 2009, and when I've decided that I wanted to contribute to the house scene here in Atlanta, I wanted to produce an event that was inclusive for everyone. That was part of the community and formed a movement as such. So I called the party Tambor, which means drum ceremony. It's an Afro-Cuban word that means drum ceremony. So there's a spiritual context to it as well. And I decided to have a monthly party. And at the time, there was a venue in East Atlanta Village called Sensi that was putting on a few house events. And I got to know the owners and said I wanted to do a monthly party. So they said, yeah, sure, great. So they gave me a Saturday night in August 2009. And I did, you know, a party with some local DJs, DJ B and Youssef. And the party was amazing, went really well. So then I wanted to do it again. I wanted to do it every month, you know. And so the problem is that, you know, a week after I had the event, I got a call from someone. They said, that club that you did your party at, all their stuff is out on the street. I was like, what? No way. So I drove down there, and sure enough, they got evicted from the venue. So I had to look for another place. And the place I went to was called Karma, right in the heart of downtown Atlanta, behind the Rialto on Poplar Street. So I did a monthly party there for over a year, about a year and a half. I brought some guest DJs down, and, you know, I kept on with my whole culture of being inclusive for everyone. I wanted more of a younger crowd to come in, and the party just popped off. And when I first walked in that place, I was like, this place is too big for me. And then before I knew it, we were packing out the place and had to move to a bigger venue after that, which was Django's on Peachtree Street. Then we outgrew that after a year, and then went to 595 on North Avenue. And had some amazing parties there, because we had up to about 500-600 people there on a monthly party. So Tambor's been running consistently every month since 2009. there's from what I've seen in Atlanta, there's always been a large gay community that have been in to the house music, as well as the straight scene as well. And I think I've been quite fortunate enough to have both scenes in my parties. Okay, so I get a large contingent of straight people as well as a large contingent of gay people. And I feel really grateful that both people feel comfortable coming in and partying together in the same space, you know, enjoying the music on the same vibration, which is what music is all about. It's about music, people coming together under one roof, you know, and just feeling the same vibe and dancing. Of course, with every city, there's going to be competitiveness, okay? There's always people doing parties. At one stage, pre-COVID, there was so many parties going on in Atlanta, so much so that we actually, all the promoters had to get together and say, okay, well, you're doing something on the first Saturday, your second, your third, your fourth, and your Fridays, and this person's Thursdays. We actually had to kind of bring it all together and spread it out so that we didn't have 4 parties coming on the same day and everyone fighting for the same group of people. So, you know, of course there's going to be competitiveness, but I think I'm fortunate enough to say that it's all done in good gesture.
I came to Atlanta in 2001, and I'll have to say at that time, I thought house music was EDM, techno, the douche, douche, douche. So needless to say, I steered away. I didn't even venture out to explore because I was ignorant. I didn't know. And my go-to spot was MJQ on a Friday night, and I would go there for hours and hours and dance, and kind of got burnt out with that. And about 4 years ago, some friends invited me to come out and hear this guy spinning at this club, and I walk in.
It's called Wild Pitch.
It was Wild Pitch, yep. And I walk in, and it's like there was no buildup. It was just you come right in and you're dancing, and so that was right up my street. So I just went in and danced with my friends all night until it was over. There was no stop, and so I don't even. Well, I know at that time I didn't know that was house music. I was just like, what is this? This is how I like to dance, and so that was the beginning of my education about house music.
Well, I was raised in the metro Atlanta area, but I honestly did not come across house music until I enlisted in the Navy. And the first time I really, delved into that scene was we were on deployment and we pulled into Italy. And there was a spot in Italy where I really heard, because like her, I was thinking EDM. There are a few house tracks that, everybody knows here, Percolator, Follow Me, stuff like that. But when I went overseas, that's where I really started hearing it. Because, back then, like in the early 90s, it was mainly R&B, hip hop, stuff like that. And then fast forward, now I am a house head, full-fledged. I moved back to Atlanta in 2011. And I remember Tambor was one of the first events I went to upon returning to Atlanta. And I also remember that I noted a lack of photographers. Short story, I used to promote house music events when I was in Virginia. Coming back here, I saw that there's a vibrant scene. So I was, I'm going to just do my thing in photography. Got back here, I think I reached out to Stan once, asking about, if he needs photography services, and he was like, well, at the moment, I don't think I need it. And a mutual friend, I think a year later, reached out to me like, hey, so there's this promoter, DJ, might be looking for a photographer, full circle. So I've been with Tambor for 12 years, and along with doing Tambor, it's I mean, there's so many other parties, so many other promoters. So if you're not, um, fully onto the Afro sound, you have a plethora of other sounds too. Yeah. All right. So for me, the scene in Atlanta in regards to the house music scene, it's I don't see nearly as much drama, so to speak, as you would see in New York, Chicago. I don't see as much fierce competition, so to speak. Here, everybody just seems to vibe, get along. I have yet to see drama at a party. Everybody goes just like it is in other places. You don't go there to drink. You don't go there to try to pick up, pick up on the opposite sex, same sex, whatever. You go there strictly to dance, to let loose, to be free. And that's why anyone who comes to Atlanta, one of the first things I try to have them do, if they have time, is to join me to whatever house event is going on that particular weekend. Because most of the people who come through, they're used to the regular club parties playing other genres, but you cannot experience what you experience at a house music event at a normal R&B or hip hop club.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. I think, talking for myself, it's with the regular events that happened in Atlanta, like, for example, House in the Park, The Gathering, Tambor. There was a close-knit following of those parties, of those events. And those people formed a movement. So with Tambor, when it first started, I was really surprised at how quickly a movement started, and people were okay. Yes, I go to Tambor, so we're together. Okay, we now become friends. And so many people used to say, I used to go to Tambor and I used to dance with this person for years, and I didn't know their name. And then suddenly I'll bump into them in Lenox Mall, for example, and now we're best friends. So there was always those type of stories, and people became best friends from the club, and one thing that I didn't realize at the time, but I had later on through conversation I cottoned on to, and that is that there is a hierarchy in the club, and there's certain spaces in the club that are reserved for the people in the community, right? For example, in front of the speakers, all right. If you're not part of the community and you're just coming along for the first time and just like, oh, I'm gonna stand here by the speakers. No, those spaces are reserved for the dancers. Okay, in front of the DJ booth is reserved for the dancers, and there's a protocol for how you when there's a dance circle. And what you do, where if you're not dancing, you stay out of the dance circle. Otherwise, the person in the middle, okay, will do a certain twist or whatever and knock you out. So, and that person would have backing, and the DJ, the promoter, as long as the community are like the party, like the event, they will back that person up, and they will protect that person. I've been DJing before, and people have approached me while I've been DJing that they didn't know, and they're like, before they could even tap me on the shoulder, they're like running to this person, it's like, hold on, what are you doing? You can't touch the DJ. This is our DJ. You cannot touch the DJ. He belongs to us. Okay, you can't just run up on him like that, and it's not security. It really is just love, and protection, and protecting a member of the family,
and respect,
and respect, and it goes the same with other people who are part of the dance and club community. They look out for each other in so much that when if someone's going back to their car, You know, if it's a female, she's by herself. Someone said, "Oh, don't worry, I'll walk you to your car." You know, walk to them to the car, and they run back in the club and start dancing again. You know, and you know, oh, I'm moving next week. I don't have any. You know, I need some help. Oh, okay, no problem. You know, let's move you Saturday morning, get something to eat. Saturday night, we're going to the club.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's how you build extended family. You build the love, you build the movement, the culture, and people stay friends for lifetimes. Yeah.